Hello! This video is brought to you by my supporters on Patreon and my members on YouTube. Minasan, hontou ni arigatou gozaimasu. I appreciate you so much. Your support helps to motivate me to do what I do by getting up early every morning, preparing a list of things to do, particularly on the personal column, to make sure that I'm working hard to share the story of the going alone and further the encouraging message, I believe, of the Good Life Creed. I really do appreciate you being there. My name is Kurt, and this is my Good Life Meditation. It's an exercise that I do each and every morning, a little bit after waking up. It's now 4:52 a.m. I do this for several reasons. First of all, I like to remember my life objectives and principles, those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone. You can get a link down, you can get a copy from the link down in the description if you like. I recommend the hardbound edition. I do this not just to remember the objectives and principles, but to practice them and to refine them, to help to tinker and improve. When I first started this out so many years ago, there were only 3 objectives and 5 principles, and that's grown to 8 and 35 now. I also use this time to think about the last 24 hours and how I did with the various challenges and opportunities that I met, including while I was attempting to sleep. I think about the coming day, I plan for the coming day, to make it a good day, and then I prepare myself to die. Sounds so sober, doesn't it? But it's a very important part of the day as well. But before I kick everything off, I like to read a poem. So turning back to Edward Thomas, let's read his poem today called The New House. Here it goes. My first time to read it. The New House. Now, first, as I shut the door, I was alone in the new house, and the wind began to moan. Old at once was the house, and I was old. My ears were teased with the dread of what was foretold. Nights of storm, days of mist without end, sad days when the sun shone in vain, old griefs and griefs not yet begun. All was foretold me, naught could I foresee, but I learned how the wind would sound after these things should be. Wow! Especially given that I'm listening to the wind right now, blowing storm-like outside my window. I don't think it's coming through to the microphone though. And I had last night as I slept, I had the window cracked open enough to let a breeze in, and I could hear the wind howling and the flag across the street at the HB Boys facility flapping madly. A little more of this. Now first, as I shut the door, I was alone. So he enters the house, he shuts the door, he's alone in the new house, and the wind began to moan. It wasn't moaning before. Maybe you can just hear it moaning now that the house is sealed. Old at once was the house, and I was old. My ears were teased with the dread of what was foretold. Nights of storm, days of mist without end, sad days when the sun shone in vain, old griefs and griefs not yet begun. I'd say that's the atmosphere and outlook of a pessimist, perhaps. My very character is of almost annoyingly optimistic, up, forward-looking. I'm maddeningly optimistic, I think. I wouldn't see it that way, but I can understand the sentiment. I can touch that sentiment. It touches me. It's like looking across at another gender, another sex. Like, yeah, you're human, you're female. I can relate, kind of, but we're different. Likewise, to enter the new house, close the door, become old, feel the house is old, and anticipate the nights of storm, days of mist without end, sad days when the sun shone in vain, old griefs and griefs not yet begun. All was foretold me, not could I foresee, but I learned how the wind would sound after these things should be. That's the outlook of a pessimist, I think. Does he look like a pessimist? I know he was a melancholy man. I would probably, what would I do if I entered the new house? Close the door. I would think about the lives that had lived there. It was a new house, right? So it's not an old house. So I would busy my mind populating the house with projects, activities, spaces to do things. And when the winds came and the rain and everything, I would soak up the atmosphere like I did last night. Funny how this all comes together, because last night I was challenged a little bit. I was laying in bed there listening like that, and I couldn't sleep with the wind. And I was challenged just a little bit. I was upset at myself because of a rash move that I made yesterday and making a big purchase without much thought. Dummy me. And I'm, this year ahead of the big move to Japan. I'm moving to Japan this year. In case you're someone who sees this, but you're not following my story, my family and I are moving. I need every dollar that we can to make that move possible. And here I was, spent $600 on a whim yesterday. That's enough for an airline ticket, one way, or a round trip even, but we don't need them in a round trip. Anyway, and that's what I was thinking about, lolling about in the bed, thinking about, why did I do that so rash when I didn't need to? But that's okay. The part of me was okay. That's interesting. So the little piece in me, the optimistic guy, was like, who cares? You get through it, Kurt. You better off that you did. You and Yumiko can enjoy, my wife can enjoy the benefit of what that $600 will yield in the year in which it will apply. And if I have to work a little more, then so be it. If I have to linger beyond December 16th, so be it. These are the thoughts that I was lingering in my mind, but they weren't the melancholy thoughts of the dread that has not been foreseen, described there. These were the thoughts of reconciliation, reconciling the realities of life with the recklessness of my financial mismanagement, which has been my bane my whole life. Who gives it? I'm not worried. I should be, I guess. I always find a way, because I'm hardworking, I think. I always find a way because I'm not hesitant to wake up and pick up a shovel and begin digging a hole to make a day's labor, make a day's income. Now that may not keep up, right? But I'm still strong enough. That's not going to keep up, Kurt. You need to get yourself, talking to myself, you need to get yourself squirreled away in that little farmhouse in Japan, not too far from the hospital and clinic or the supermarket, but maybe next to a bus stop would be smart too. That Hirayama house might have been a good call after all. That chance is past. Make this move, Kurt. Get yourself settled. Get yourself dug in to a safe and settled in Japan, with the retirement pension coming in, and then just you can add on top of that. You can take on contract work or whatever. This is me so comforting myself, continuing the thoughts that were happening last night. Goodness gracious, how did I do this? Just from reading a poem. Now I've entered into a long soliloquy about my own life. So be it. That's what good poetry does, right? It promotes and prompts the mind to new and interesting thoughts. Hold on, let me capture this poem. Recording 9. All right, let's carry on. Last night and yesterday. Well, I already covered a good deal of what was going on last night. Surprising that I feel so good. I feel refreshed and ready and warm and I'm ready. Man, where did this come from? The thing that I keep saying more and more, I see it almost every day. I'm walking like Caesar at this point in my life. And this is not just figurative. Literally, I walk on our long dog walks every night. I must stand an inch taller every day. I walk with the best posture ever. And my mind is quiet. And I think Yumiko sometimes mistakes me for another man because I say less. I don't fill the void with empty chatter anymore. And I use my mind in deliberate fashion. I, I, I use my mind while we're walking to think through things. And if there's a topic to discuss, I wait for a quiet spot in our walk to talk it over with my dear wife. I walk like Caesar. And I feel like Caesar. I even decide like Caesar. Yesterday, I marched down to the beach with my towel, right up to the edge of the water. The wind was howling. It was cold. Angela was hunkered in her tent doing her lawyerly work on the phone. I could see her over there. Bobby and his wife, my new friends, had come down. I could see them back at the bottom of the stairs. And I looked at the sea and I said, Kurt, you should enter the sea. It's what you do. And another part of my mind said, Kurt, it's low tide. Look at that. The wind is howling and the water is going to be low tide. Stingrays. Maybe it's prudent to skip the day. Oh, but you can't. Habit, right? Habit, it's what you do. Yes, I can. I can do as I please. I'm a 60-year-old man. I'm in control of my mind. I get to decide for myself. It won't hurt me to miss another day. This will be the 4th day in a row. So be it. And I turned around and I left without a single backwards glance. I walked past Angela and I waved. Within 20 feet of her tent, I waved at her. She didn't see me. She was still on the phone with her clients making money. And then I got to the edge of the stairs, and I just in time to catch Bobby and his wife, and we talked a little bit. They said, "Did you go in?" I said, "No, I didn't. It was too cold." They said, "We too." They had come to the bottom of the stairs. Usually they walk. They have an apartment right there by the beach, and just 1 block back. And usually they walk all the way and put their feet in the water every day. And they said, "We didn't even go to the water. It's too cold." So be it. We 3 walked like Caesar, did we not? One of 2 Caesars, 1 Cleopatra. They're the same age as me. Maybe that's the function. Maturity, age, resolve, peace of a sort, tempered by the reality of what's going on 2 doors down with Bob and Laurel, who have fallen from their perch, their precarious perch, and now are in the machine. They won't come out, not likely. Their house is silent and dark. I still have a key. I need to find a way to relinquish that. These are the thoughts that were keeping me awake last night. Interesting thoughts. They weren't despair. I wasn't fussing over work. I was thinking over life. Very interesting, similar to the poem in a way, right? The door closed. The house. But my reflections were not of the storms to come, but of how I'm going to continue the movement forward in a resourceful and interesting and ironic way. Irony, humor, compassion. Otherwise, yesterday, fantastic day of work. I'll show you my checklist. Again, I'm sorry to sound too self-congratulatory, but when I have a good day, I have a good day. It doesn't look like a lot of stuff on the work site, but I got them all done. Just... You know what it is like at this point in my career? It's like being a chef in a kitchen. Again, I'm going to sound self-congratulatory, but this is my meditation after all. It's time for me to face the good, bad, and ugly of my own self in my own life. And this is a good. It's like being a chef in a restaurant and really knowing all the dishes and being able to whip out a good meal whenever the ka-ching comes up and the bell rings and the order up. That's how it is right now. I had one meeting yesterday where I was asked to chip in to help to extract out of the air of conversation the process, to do my analyst work. And the result was good, really good. top of my game. I couldn't have done this. Couldn't have done it 10 years ago. I got everything done. The personal side, I got almost everything done. Just ran out of time. Here's my new checklist. So let's go ahead and put that aside and let's do the good life. Meditation, creed. Today I'm going to focus on, I'll recite my 8 objectives and 35 principles, and I'll focus on the one objective, or rather principle it is, called the horror show. The horror show. I specifically put this principle 2 doors down from the principle called temperance. Temperance is the principle that suggests self-control, followed by the principle called life will not go well, which, as the name suggests, indicates that we should not expect things to always go well, as the poet says. Horror show is a notch up. It's a reminder that horror of one sort or another, to a greater or lesser degree now or in the future, repeatedly or maybe just one awful time, will come to all of us. And to be prepared for that. The horror arrived this last week for Bob and Laurel, whose life dreams came to an end. Their retirement plans, peace and freedom and travel and togetherness, it came to an end when their health gave out. The rug was swept out under their feet. They both came tumbling down, literally 4 times, at least 4 times the paramedics came in the course of a month to pick them off the floor, literally, one by one, and then to be taken off to various hospitals, one by one, until now their apartment is gone. The horror has begun. Horror because neither of them wanted this. Bob couldn't imagine that this would happen when we spoke. He talked of touring the Pacific Northwest, either with Laurel if she could possibly get well, or alone after she was gone, because he expected that. He didn't expect it to happen to him, though. He didn't expect his mind to suddenly falter, or his health to truly give out, his body to crush under its own weight, literally, and ill misuse, poor use. Laurel just gone in her mind. Alzheimer's, dementia. Now they're gone. The horror has begun. And so it happens. The horror show is my reminder that I shouldn't expect a peaceful death and my bed with my loved ones standing around. I would hope for that. I'll plan for that, but I should recognize that horror comes in many forms, to a greater or lesser degree, sooner or later, to all of us, even if it's a grief, pang on the chest, like my father dying of a heart attack. The horror is quick and gone at a young age, or it could linger. That's the horror show principle. I think I've talked enough about that. Just a second here. All right, let's recite the good life. The 8 objectives are to be always ready to die, to make good and effective use of time, to develop and maintain good and sound life principles, to cultivate good emotional reactions, to perform good actions, to recognize true limits and true opportunities, to do just one thing at a time and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully, and to keep my balance at all times. The 35 principles now are, and they're in the book, in the chapter titled The Good Life. War, reason, homunculus, anchor hold, home of good and evil, purpose, atomic principle, nature, pirate ride, maturity, social principle, family, public speaking, temperance, life will not go well, the horror show, that which must be borne, the feast of offal, distraction, agency and the great indifference, the best seat in the house, the restless man, the path of wildness, the great life adventure, the risk of avoiding risk, sin and damnation, complete oblivion, the season of philosophy, script writing, the bullseye aim, The uphill climb, arena and utility. Nothing is enough, the principle of fun, and being prepared. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Got them all in the right order. I stumbled a bit though, didn't I? It's funny how sometimes I'm on my game and sometimes I'm not. Yesterday, and the couple of days before that, I couldn't even remember the list. What am I doing today? It's a day of work. It's a Thursday. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 meetings, a workflow to develop, and a reports list to get out, and of course all my email on top of all of that. That's my work day ahead of me. From personal stuff, all the usual stuff, right? All the usual stuff, and I'll get most of it done before I even start work in an hour and a half, and hour and 15 minutes, and then I'll complete the remainder in the 20-minute breaks that I have, and during lunch, and in the 1 hour of free time after I get back from the beach before Yumiko finishes work. So it'll all wrap up. And I'm not going to worry about that $600. Plus, what's free will after all? Boy, in making that decision, I really felt like it. And it was really a funny one. It was true impulse buy. I haven't made an impulse buy in a long time. Big impulse buy. I think it was worthwhile though. Although I didn't need to do it. But so what? So maybe I'll work an extra month, or maybe I'll get a contract job and toil away at that for an extra month. And I'm not going to worry about that. Yes, you are, but I'm trying not to. Last thing, am I ready to die? 3 questions. Are my affairs in order? Yes, they are. Are my relationships sound? Yes, they are. Is my life's work complete? Yes. Both fronts of that life's work are complete. My daughter's raised. My book is written. My book is writ. Oh, Emily's going to call us today. She has a job offer, and she needs to decide if she's going to accept that job offer in Tokyo. So she wants to call and talk to us today to go over the pros and cons and help her with that deliberation. I look forward to that. It's not on the list because I don't know when she's going to call, or if she's going to call for sure. Let's stop there. I wish you all the best. Be safe, but not too safe.